right.
And there we go. The live stream is up. And
Okay.
all right. So, welcome everyone from HBS Online. Anyone who's watching, this interview is a little different from the other interviews as opposed to discussing everyone's lives and careers. We're going to be talking about what adversity means in David Lanre Messan's life. So, David, thank you. Welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine, Scott. I'm sure you're doing great as well. In fact,
Yeah.
when I first saw the topic, I played 10 years back my life, even 15 years back my life. Like, hey man, Larry, somebody's reminding you of everything that you've gone through. You've gone through a lot, and the truth is that yes, everybody has got some peculiar experiences with adversity, more particularly in life, and I've got my own fair share. And a lot
Yeah.
of people refer to adversity as misfortune. Some refer to it as some sort of unpleasant situation you find in your life. So what has
Yeah.
brought me to where I am today is not devoid of adversity. Certainly, it has. I've experienced a lot. So, and there are several angles to what I have gone through as a person in business, in relationships, in my physical life, and in different in just at different levels of my life. But I will talk about. I will start with my personal life, and again I'll talk about business, and I might touch a bit on relationship and how I've
Yeah.
been able, what I went through, and how I was able to navigate my way out of all of these adversities. But first things first,
Mm.
let's be very clear. There is nobody on earth who truly will succeed big at something that will not go through some form of misfortune or an unpleasant situation that could almost, cripple you or even make you want to lose hope or lose that knack for pursuit of excellence in some way.
Yeah.
You understand? So um, when I was young, I mean, at the early stages of my life, I grew up. My father he's now a retired teacher, so he was then an active teacher, and then he would put me in his library to read. And while I started reading several books here and there, just to kind of, not because I really want to read these books, but because hey, I've got to listen to the
Yeah.
instruction of my dad, you
Yeah.
know. And but of course, look, at some point, I started loving the books. But now this is it. I grew up in that kind of environment where I could have everything I want, and all of a sudden, when I think I was about 8 or 9 or so,
Yeah.
my dad just came and said, hey guys, we can't live in this 3 bedroom apartment anymore. We are broke. We are going to live in a single room apartment and we will be sharing toilets with every other person, about 20 other people where we will
Yeah.
live. There's something called Face Me, I Face You in Nigeria, in Lagos. you know, these
Yeah.
are such up, rooms, all facing each other, and they can be 10 facing another 10, and every small family will occupy just a single room in that start. And there will be just about 2 toilets and 2 bathrooms for 20 people to share. So you wake up early in the morning, you have to queue to have your
Yeah.
shower, you have to queue to even go to pool.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? And I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm going to live life this way. They say, man, we're officially broke, so let's go and adjust. Let's adapt to life. It is life. It is life. I can I
Yeah.
can I can cope. So we went into the space and started living in that kind of apartment. The early stages of that period were very, very, was a very difficult period for us because we could not
Yeah.
adapt. You know how you wake up and you just want to go to your toilet in your own room and do whatever it is that you want to do. But you wake up this time around, the person you want to dash out of that single room and then get into the toilet, you see 3 other people in front of you with their small bucket, and you're like, So when is it going to be my turn? So I'm number 4.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
imagine the scenario of you being caught up with your pool at some point. So really, what I'm just saying that I've had such very crazy moment in life. But what did I do differently? In the early stages were very difficult, but what I did that I realized that it has become my reality.
yeah.
That adversity at that point that I couldn't cope with, it was an unpleasant situation, became my own reality. And I had to first embrace that reality, because for you to get out of adversity, you must first accept the fact that you are in that situation. Because if you
Yeah.
keep battling with it in your head that, hey, I am not, because if you are trying to grapple with the reality of whether you are in that situation or not, then it's going to depress you more. And it's going to probably create some sort of illusionary experience for you that might not quickly get you out of that reality. And oftentimes people get soaked up in that situation
Yeah.
that they don't even get out of it for a very long time, because they are not thinking about solutions, because they haven't accepted that reality. They are only thinking about it from a problematic point of view, a problem point of view, and it will continue to compound. You understand?
Yeah.
So I had to accept that reality that, hey, come, we are no longer in a 3-bedroom apartment. So the mindset for living has to change.
Right.
You have got to learn to do things out of inconvenience and
Yeah.
adapt to inconvenience as lifestyle until when you are able to do something that will now make things more convenient for you. But hey, man, I lived in that inconvenient
Yeah.
situation for over 8 years of my life.
Yeah. And last week,
It's been
Morgan
very,
talked about adapting to her life. And it was a lot of what you said, recognizing the reality. Last night, I interviewed someone for the Civic Code. His name is Rich Isabor. He's also Nigerian. And he said that
yeah,
for him, the university he attends, he's about to graduate, Southern Methodist University in Dallas. At SMU, their logo or their motto is "The truth will set you free." And it's a lot of, it's very similar to what you're saying is embrace your reality so then you can move forward.
yeah,
Because yeah, there's a time to adjust.
exactly.
There's a time to say, okay, maybe my life is worse or it sucks and this is what's going on. But you have to find a way to finally embrace it, finally accept that's just how it is. Let's keep going. What's next?
Exactly, exactly. So for me, the truth is that adversity shaped my life.
Yeah.
Adversity made me who I am.
Yeah.
Adversity strengthened me. It helped me to maintain a stronger mental balance.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
helped me to understand that you can get hit by anything at any given time, but you have to be mentally stable. You have to be
Yeah.
mentally ready to navigate your way through those situations. And what did he do? Because of the fact that I realized that it is not a convenient way to live, I have to now adopt, a pattern of living in that inconvenient state to be able to cross over to my next stage. And what did I do? I knew that I need a lot of information for me to transform my life.
Yeah.
So in living in that situation, I made reading and researching a major part of my life. I became more solution driven, trying to scribble every day how I'm going to get out of poverty,
Yeah.
and that helped me to be able to create the product that, because of my reading attitude, I was able to create the product that made me become a millionaire at the age of 23.
Yeah.
You understand? I made my first 3 million naira, which about as at then should be close to about 50,000 or $25,000 or so, at age of 23. But this is
Yeah.
simply because the resilience and the determination to want to break forth out of a state of that adversity
Yeah.
into my state of prosperity. You
Yeah. Yeah.
understand? Kind of pushed me. So what am I saying? Adversity prepares you for a better life.
Yeah.
Adversity puts you on the edge and gives you a brighter way to look at life. And
Yeah.
that is simply because you have come to accept reality, and from that reality, you know that you have to move to the next space. So, and every time you find yourself in failure or in a situation, or when you are down, the only place you have to look is up.
Yeah.
You get the concept. So, and I've understood that principle that for every time I'm down, the only place I have to journey towards is up, because that is the only opposite of where I am. And
Yeah,
we
exactly.
always find ourselves in situations, and when you find yourself in a specific situation at a specific time, immediately begin to think about the alternatives. What is the alternative to that situation? When you understand that
Right.
there is an alternative to that situation, you cannot plan towards moving from where you are to that point of alternative. The alternative of good is bad. The alternative of bad is good. So when you're in a bad situation, you know it can only get better.
Yeah, definitely.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for me, I've always believed that adversity sort of helps to help you maintain a stronger view of life and a
Yeah.
better view of life. And it did with me.
Yeah. And one of the interesting things is on your LinkedIn, you list a few things you do as a result of you came from this adversity and poverty. You're doing Leap Africa, you're also doing First Founders, and a lot of your goals now, you've written some books, you're trying to write more. What you're trying to do is you're really trying to not just impact Lagos or Nigeria, but you're trying to say, let me impact Africa, but also the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess let's
So
go ahead and talk about, I guess, what's the difference between Leap Africa and First Founders? Why are you able to do both, and why are they both important to you? And feel free to bring up other things as well.
yeah, sure. So Lip Africa is it's a leadership organization that is
Yeah.
focused on raising a new cadre of African leaders. And
Mhm.
I have been a part of Lip Africa story as a young person. I think I was 22 when I ran into Lip Africa. And out of my from my out of the quest to want to be a better young person and to succeed,
Yeah.
you get, because Leap Africa is responsible for many of the things that I've learned in leadership,
Yeah.
maintaining the integrity I need in business and in life, maintaining the drive to want to succeed. Because I told you that I made my first 3 million when I was 23. I ran
Yeah.
into Leap Africa when I was 22. So that means that 1 year within that period, the best preparation that I got as a young person that made me understand the science of wealth creation was gotten during those periods. And it came from a leadership point of view. You get
Yeah.
it? So for me, I went to the Leap Africa Youth Leadership Program as a young person, all out of the drive to want to be a better person. So I started, finding out what I need to do to really improve myself as a person, and that kind of helped me to understand leadership. And I began to participate in several leadership programs with Leap Africa. I even have to serve on the alumni board as the regional head of communications, had to volunteer. I won some of Leap Africa's awards and all of that.
Oh, man.
And now it's just about time that, I need to give back and help more people, more young people understand the concept of leadership. And that was what made me vie for the position of the presidency with the Leap Africa Alumni Network. The Leap Africa Alumni Network is pretty much focused on driving collaboration amongst all Leap Africa participants, all Leap Africa alumni, who are scattered around the entire world. My friend, who my vice president, is a veteran in the US, but he
Oh,
started
wow.
growing up from Nigeria. Yes, he's a veteran in the US, served in the US Army. His name is Wale Salami. He's based in Texas, and he's super rich. You understand? What am I saying in essence is Leap Africa sort of, helps raise African leaders with integrity and purpose to want to transform. And it is evident in so many Leap Africa, alumni all over the world, inclusive of myself. We are role models to a lot of people, and we learned the art of conquering adversity, even in leadership. Again, and we've
Yeah.
been able to surpass many of our environmental problems, social and economic problems, to becoming who we have become. So Leap Africa is sort of responsible for that. So, and that is what Leap Africa represents. So right now, I am trying to help consolidate upon the alumni plans and to help make to create an integrated community where members of the community can find more opportunities and become even more relevant to giving back to society and to the world at large.
Yeah.
And first founders, I mean, you also asked me to talk about first founders. On your last show, I talked about first founders, but I know we've got a couple of new people watching this show. So for first founders,
Yeah.
I must be very honest with you. It's basically a digital incubation company.
Mm-hmm.
We are promoting entrepreneurship amongst young Africans. But this time around, we are promoting digital entrepreneurship because we realize that the future of Africa is highly driven by technology. The
Yeah.
tech startup ecosystem is fast growing with several solutions that cut across fintech, payment, cut across health, med tech, talking about edtech and several of these things. And the population of Africa is so massive, over 1.2 billion. And this population mainly are looking for digital infrastructures that they can leverage on that can help them to serve either their consumer consumption needs or their emotional or educational needs. There are several needs that kind of exist. So, but we have a shortage of talents that will deliver the values that the continent requires. So I am committed to raising digital entrepreneurs, preparing their startups and helping them to raise funds in America, in India, and in China, in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and all of that, to be able to launch these startups and be valuable, to create more employment. So what am I doing? I'm just focused on helping young people create wealth and create jobs, because these are two fundamental needs of an average young person, in Africa. So that is what, First Founders is currently committed towards, doing. And I'm very passionate about, just as I'm passionate about leadership with Live Africa, I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship here. I've been in that system for over 16 years, and I'm still very much committed to it. So
Yeah.
you can trust that, this will work. So just talking more about adversity is going to help me. It has helped me to inspire myself that I can deal with my problems when they come. No matter how strange these problems are, I can deal with it. I have also seen that through adversity, I've gained international recognition.
Right.
Harvard Business School wrote about me. The African Leadership magazine in UK, a very powerful magazine, wrote about me. People write about me in the international scene. I've won several awards throughout the world with people I've never seen, but just because I've impacted and contributed to the growth of those regions. And just recently, I was selected by the MLK Service of Coming Committee to play the role of Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday.
Wow.
On the 18th, I will be dramatizing the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King. You get what I'm saying? So which means that the recognition for conquering adversity and becoming a global leader from a local context, is now something that is becoming more and more phenomenal. And I'm proud of that personally. And I tell any person that no matter the adversity, no matter what it is that you are going through, you have the ability and the capacity to change that story. But it begins with an inward reflection on who you are, understanding that you possess the talent, you possess the capacity to change that story. And it also begins with you embracing that reality and understanding that there's definitely hope. There's definitely that encouragement that you can give to yourself. Because the truth is, if you don't encourage yourself, you cannot even get encouragement from outside.
Right.
Because you must reflect that you are a subject of that encouragement for people to say, hey man, you need more of this. You need more of this. Because if you do not show that you have it, and let me tell you, it's still the same way with making money. When you make money for yourself, people want to give you more opportunities to make more money.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
understand the concept. So it all begins with self, and it all begins with understanding that you possess the capacity to change that story. And you are definitely going to find yourself in different situations. That is a given. That you are never going to go through something in life, it's a big lie. You will definitely go through something. But when you are going through it, you have to embrace the reality. You have to be able to pick up the lessons that will not let you repeat those situations. You understand? So, and for
Yeah.
me, I believe also what I call integrity of purpose. The integrity of purpose also can be an inspiration point for you to be able to know that if truly I believe in my purpose and I want to live my purpose, I have got to be, I must have that integrity. Having that integrity means that you must pass through that adversity and ensure that you conquer it. And I always say that adversity is a phase, it is not a place.
Yeah.
It is until when you accept that it's your place, that is when you give up. But when you know it is a phase, everything about a phase is that it is temporary.
Yeah,
You get
definitely.
the concept. It is temporary. That means that it's going to move you to the next phase of your life. And that next phase often will lead you to something more beautiful, more rainbow driven. And definitely you will succeed with that. So
Yeah.
I've had experiences and definitely I've changed my personal life stories. By all standard, I'm not supposed to be a global figure by now. I'm not supposed to have been where I am now. I'm not supposed to be I'm supposed to be nobody because the very many young people that were in my stage as at that time
Yeah.
are still relinquishing in that situation, in that unpleasant situation. Why?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do what I did. So that means I did something differently.
Hmm.
And everything that I've done differently has shaped my life, has helped me to stay on top of the springboard. It has helped me to become an inspiration to thousands and thousands of people across the world. It has made me become a relevant person in the discussions of business and anything across the world. People invite me to come talk about everything and major things across the world. And it's simply because people could relate with my story. So when I'm sharing my story, people say, you mean you did this? You mean you conquered your problem from a local community that is not recognized, not even in Lagos? You conquered that and you're able to become, a successful young person. Not even when you were 40, but when you were 23. You
Yeah.
made it and you're able to use the money you made to help a lot more other people to get out of poverty. In fact, that is inspirational. We need to share
Yeah.
your story. You have turned adversity into blessing.
Yeah, definitely. And I
You
think
get it?
one important thing is, like you said, your dad said, although you're going to be moving here and this, all that, you had to learn to share with others. You had to learn to queue. For Americans, that means to line up. In
Yeah,
case you
yeah,
haven't heard that
yeah,
word, I didn't know what it meant for a while. I thought it meant a hairstyle, but now I know to queue for British English means to line up, and you
yeah,
learn all these things. And then he also said, read books. There's knowledge and experience that you haven't experienced, but someone else has. They've written about it. It's in that book. Read it, and then it becomes part of
yeah,
your
sure,
experience,
sure.
how to
Yeah,
overcome adversity. And like you said, a lot of that has led to you at a much younger age than most people to climb out and become what most people dream of becoming. But then you're still going back to, I used to line up, I used to queue for the restroom, I used to have to share all this space with such a small space with 20 people.
yeah,
And that's giving you the ability to say, look at the world with however many people there are. Africa has 1.2 billion people, but it's not too much. There's always room. We can share, and if we need to, we'll queue, we'll line up, but everyone will get what they need. And
exactly.
it's just, we just need to find everyone and help them get ready for the
Yeah,
next opportunity to overcome the adversity.
yeah,
So I think I do want to touch on something real quick. You mentioned on Monday, the MOK committee, they asked you to dramatize Dr. King.
yeah,
And for me being here, if you ask me about a leader in Africa, well, not just Africa, but if you're talking about from the continent of Africa, I would usually think of Nelson Mandela. So I guess my viewpoint of Nelson Mandela is here's a man who preached peace,
Yeah, sure.
togetherness, unity. He endured 27 years of prison,
Yeah,
and despite all of that, managed to maintain his commitment to peace and then say, South Africa, we are one.
yeah,
So I'm curious to see, obviously, for me being an American, a lot of how I view Dr. King is how
yeah,
most Americans view him. But I'm curious, for you come from Nigeria, how
yeah.
do you view Dr. King? Is it similar to how I view Nelson Mandela, or do you view the two men similarly, or is it different? And how does that compare and contrast with how you view Nelson Mandela being from South Africa, where you're up in Nigeria?
Well, in all honesty, Nelson Mandela is regarded as the father of peace
Mm,
and true political leadership
yeah,
in Africa. I have very deep respect for him.
yeah,
I bought many of his books, inclusive of his autobiography. And he's somebody, he's a leader that will continue to inspire young people like me
yeah,
because of the fact that he lived his life honorably. I did not just live it honorably, live it with full integrity in shaping, you know, many of the leadership principles that a lot of revolutionary leaders today practice in Africa,
yeah,
particularly those who are driven by the vision of a greater and better Africa. You understand? I'm
yeah,
putting that vis-a-vis with Dr. King, Martin Luther King Jr. You know, with what I want to do is more about the Americans. But because of
yeah,
the fact that I have a lot of relationship with several Americans, they just felt that, hey, man, come share this part of our story and history.
yeah,
And simply because of the fact that I understand the role that Dr. King has played in helping the Black community to become what it is today,
yeah,
and the Black community, to a very large extent, has its connections to people like me, myself, yeah, in Africa. So
yeah,
we've got to share in that success. And the globalization of the world and leadership in itself, and how America has become a place where dreams can be achieved, where all preponderant upon factors like peace that is being propounded and pushed by people like, Dr. King. King, made it easy for an average immigrant, for example, coming to America, I'm an immigrant, and made it easy for me to come and dream,
yeah,
knowing fully well that the environment is going to accommodate my dreams. And
yeah,
it's going to give me the opportunity to try to accomplish that dream and become a global citizen that will be appreciated even on the soil of America, no matter the time that I come.
yeah,
That is inspirational. You understand? It is through his speeches that I understand that segregation is not a thing to fall for, but instead love. You understand? That embracing of humanity, knowing
yeah,
fully well that we can continue to tell our story the way we want to tell it and to live the American dream. So for me, I see similarities between both leaders. And I think that they're saying the same thing. They are only trying to propagate a world where peace,
right,
you understand, can be the in thing, where love will be the in thing. You get it? And more particularly, to create a system that cohabits everybody and to drive justice.
yeah,
You get my point? So those are fundamentally, similarities that I see between Mandela. And Mandela also fought for that. I did not just fight for his country and South Africa, but for the whole of Africa.
yeah,
You get, and many of his principles are still appreciated today. So these are people that I respect, and these are people that I have a lot of, that I just look at and I'm inspired to want to be a greater and a better leader.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because one of my favorite stories is, and I saw this in the movie, I think Invictus. There was Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon, and it was really interesting to me how one common thing that came up was once South Africa goes black, they take away our rugby team. And the movie was addressing, I don't
Mhm.
remember the details very well because that was a while back, but what I
Okay.
remember was one of the healing moments was when he said, uh, someone said, well, why should we keep the team? It's a white team. He said, it was a white team. Now it is a South African team. And his whole message was, even though we've overcome apartheid, now we're starting to say this is what we want. But for those people, we don't need to take away from them either. We can say, if you have that, you can have that. And if we have this same thing, we can join you. Let's celebrate as one country, as one brotherhood, and like you say, extend that through all of
Yeah.
Africa. But then also became an inspiration globally, saying it's not just us, it's hey, let's all be peaceful, let's all be together as one. And
Yeah.
obviously for me, growing up in the US, growing up in Arkansas, more often I heard about Dr. King, but once I found out about Nelson Mandela, I recognized, oh wow, it's a, like you said, a lot of the same themes, peace, love, what can we do for others as people.
Yeah.
And of course there are some moments where we have to say, okay, here's a group, a demographic we need to raise up. But once we've helped them get to a certain point, let's see if we can help other people as well. Let's make sure everyone is, everyone's a part of this, no one's
Yeah.
being left out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things. I feel like it's interesting to me that I from a young age, I got to learn about these two great men and
Yeah.
just hear about what they do. And then
Yeah.
seeing our generation now, we're seeing so many people from so many places, like you said, digitalization and globalization. A lot of us are able to really connect across borders and
Hmm.
help. And um, I don't know, I guess, when else in the history of the world where would I be connecting with you across the Atlantic?
Yeah.
You just had
Sure.
dinner, I just had lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. you know, the truth is this. I think the world is getting better
Yeah.
from where we are coming from, and there are people that are responsible for helping us to adopt certain ideals that promote the love, and most importantly, that help us to understand that there is a method to conquering adversity.
Yeah.
And if you look at how these people have been able to conquer adversity in their respective ways, you will understand that they even went through crazier moments than us in this period. There is a limit to the kind of information that they could process at that particular point because of how technology was kind of crippling into the system at that time, not in a very sporadic way as it is as of today. You get
Yeah.
it? So I think that we are now in an age where we need to, as well as young people, leave greater precedents for the younger generation that is to come.
Yeah.
And the good news is that we already have the opportunity to document these experiences.
Yeah. Oh, I guess his feed disconnected. He'll be back soon. That's all I'm trying to plug it back in. So if you're tuning in just now, David Lanre Messan, he's reconnecting. He'll be back on soon. But just now we were talking about how a lot of Dr. King and Nelson Mandela overcoming adversity in their lives. It's a lot of it's a lot of the character of the to do that, and from there to say, all right, here's the message of peace and love and unity. We're going to continue that. And of course, similar to David's life, growing up in poverty in Nigeria, to then be able to say, all right, how do we take the adversity that's going on? And in his case, sharing the same space with 20 other people, lining up just to even use the restroom, queuing in British English. And from there to be able to say, all right, this is how we're going to overcome adversity, poverty, and then become successful, impact others. And here we are. David is coming back on. And there you are, David. And once he's unmuted, we'll hear him again. And then, okay. And there we are again. So yeah, I just kind of filled in the audience a bit in case they just now tuned in, saying we talked about, a little bit of you growing up with adversity and poverty. Dr. King and Nelson Mandela had similar situations, but in the end, a lot of it is here's a message of peace, love, unity, and how to impact others. And, like you said, we're able to connect across the Atlantic. The tech and the innovation has allowed you to impact Africa in it's just so many ways. And you have Africans who come to the U.S., Africans who unfortunately many of them were enslaved and brought to the U.S. and other countries in this part of the world. But today, I'm able to talk to you. I just had lunches at dinner. You're able to impact people across the ocean, all over Africa, but then not just in Africa, we're able to impact people of all different races, genders, beliefs, religions, whatever time zone they're in.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the impact, like you said, overcoming that adversity was a big part of you being able to now say, this is who I am.
So what you're saying, and is if I get your question, I mean, what's your question again?
Oh no, I was just kind of summarizing what's happened so far.
Yeah. This is who I am, and this is what it is, and I think that I'm trying as much as possible to ensure that I still keep the topic very relevant, which is around adversity. You get, and which is also important for us as young people to be able to leave the appropriate precedents for those who are coming behind. And more importantly, we tend to talk more about the successes that we have attained at different levels with people, but we don't tend to help people understand how to solve problems. Most of the times people feel that adversity is a strange part of success. People even think that failure shouldn't be a part of success. But we need to be able to understand, particularly the younger ones, we need to be able to, tell these stories. We need to be able to share with the world that adversity is part of life. Adversity is a major propeller of what success in itself represents. And a very powerful illustration is that the bamboo, the bamboo stick, right?
Yeah.
When you plant the bamboo stick, it takes about 7 years before it sprouts.
Yeah.
Right? And you will understand that within that period of 7 years for the bamboo stick not to show, it's even a heavier adversity on its own. But there's something that the bamboo stick has: hope, belief, resilience. You understand? And a stronger confidence in self, knowing that, saying to itself, now I'm illustrating this, that I will sprout. I am bamboo stick. I will sprout. You be patient. I will sprout. I am not the maize that sprouts in 7 days, but I will sprout. And when I sprout, I will become so important and so valuable to you for a very long time. So what am I saying in essence is we need to be able to know the kind of persons that we are. And we need to be able to instill confidence. That's confidence in the people that we are inspiring or sharing or living closely with, that sometimes you just might be the maize. Sometimes some people are the bamboo stick. But you need to understand that you will not go through adversity. It's not true. And the level and the timeline of going through that adversity differs from one person to the other. If you are watching another person, and because you can see the glamorous part of that person from the outside, you would have forgotten that the person has several wounds on the inside that has kind of helped that person become that shining star. So all of these things are key components to understanding that adversity is a major part of life. And maybe because I've gone through it at different levels. I've gone
Yeah,
through
yeah,
adversity in relationship, in personal life, in family, in business, in several things. And sometimes people form an opinion about you when you are going through a situation. So many people even try to judge you. But you have to understand that the people who judge you or form an opinion about what you are going through are really not a part of that story. So the focus should not even be on them. The focus should be on purpose. The focus should be on why you are going through what you are going through. And that you have that hope, which is a major
yes,
investment that you will scale through. You will
yeah,
definitely scale through. And once you understand this, it gives you a personal resolve and the confidence to maintain that sanity, that state of mind, in the most positive manner to pursue what you are pursuing,
yeah,
not in depression, but in the opportunity that you will win. Because
definitely.
oftentimes when people go through that adversity, they think that it is a very peculiar issue to them and nobody else is going through that. Then they subject themselves to depression, and depression takes a bigger chunk of their ability to do something different for themselves, or even will stop them from advancing forward, you understand,
Yeah,
with their lives. And that kind of just keeps the whole thing on hold. So for me, I think that adversity should be seen and taught differently, which it should be taught in such a way that I don't think that people should explain it with a sober mind. Oh, adversity is so painful. You don't want to go through it. It's so painful. Don't even try to think about it. Don't smell it. It's gonna wound you. And people goes, oh no, I don't want to hear it. I don't
yeah,
want to hear it. It shouldn't be part of my life. You
yeah,
understand? But when we prepare people mentally that you can go through this, it is very possible. But you can use a different mindset and be strong enough to conquer it because it is just a passing time.
yeah,
So that way, it makes it easier for people to know, oh, this is another adversity. I've got to conquer it. I can conquer it. Let me do what I got to do and then move past this stage onto my next stage.
yeah,
And other things that I also realize is that sometimes adversity may not necessarily be a lack of a thing. It might
yeah,
not. In my own case, my adversities mostly from the beginning were mostly the things that are needed to give me a good life that I didn't get, and it made
yeah,
me go through so much. You understand, in life. But sometimes it might be a mind problem.
right.
Sometimes we are going through an emotional adversity within self, and we don't even know how to deal with life as it comes.
Yeah,
And a lot of time people find themselves lost in that situation, and sometimes they feel like it is not worth living
yeah,
because they could not find meaning to themselves. So
yeah,
certain lot of people go through that. And sometimes, for example, a friend of mine in America has been in America for 5 years. She's gone through the nursing school for, say, 4 or 5 times, and she's failed. She's
yeah,
failed everything, the certification exams. So that way she couldn't get a job. So for that 7 years, she's been depending on her husband, and she has 2 kids. But now she's been in a state of depression, thinking that her adversity is so peculiar to her that she just thinks that, oh, but she's eating, she's watching TV, she's going out, she's having fun. When you see her outside, she's all good looking.
yeah,
But inside, she's suffering so much. And to the point where her husband doesn't even know, because her husband doesn't worry. Oh, don't worry, you will pass your exams. But for her, she feels that she has failed.
yeah,
You get it? So
yeah,
those kind of people need a psychological nurture, what I call a psychological massage, to
yeah,
help them to understand that repeated failure sometimes prepares you for something much more greater. But you have got to be mentally stable for it and know that you have to keep trying. There's nothing really wrong with failing and failing and failing. You understand? So
Yeah.
several people have failed. Look at Kentucky KFC. What is the name of this man? What's his name again?
Colonel Sanders.
Okay, yes, exactly. You understand? He's failed several times. He's failed several times. But today I sit back, I'm driving, and I see a KFC in Lagos, and I laugh. I'm seeing, look at failure all represented in KFC.
Yeah, it works. And I think one of the best phrases I ever heard was from, it was a Dwayne Wade commercial. And the first time I heard about this was someone saying, oh, commercial doesn't make sense. And what happened was it shows Dwayne Wade, and at the end, there's the phrase, fall down 7 times to get up 8. And I was thinking, see, here's the problem. Some people look at it and say, what, fall down 7 times, how you get up 8 times? Well, here's the thing. The phrase numerically doesn't make sense, philosophically amazing, because the whole idea is it doesn't matter how many times you fail. Get up at least one more time than you failed.
Exactly.
You know, Michael Jordan talks about I missed over 9,000 shots. I've missed 300 game-winning shots. I failed over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that is why I succeed, because all the greats, all the champions, they understand when you do something, say basketball, for example, you only spend 10% of your time playing the game. 90% is practicing, sometimes by yourself, maybe a lot of times by yourself. When everyone's asleep, you're waking up early, you're staying up late, you're practicing by yourself. So when you go to the 10%, if you fail 90% of that 10%, then that last 1%, you're winning the championship.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing. Yes, you might lose 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row, but maybe what you need to do is just readjust your mindset and say, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Maybe I've had a string of losses. I need to go and do something for myself, get back on track mentally and say, okay, here's a losing streak in life. Here's a quick win, a small win, a big win, but it's a win. So I break that losing streak. I start a new streak. And how do I move forward? And like you said, when you're at the bottom, the alternative is the top. Bad, good, you know, poverty, success, wealth, impact, helping others. When you're in that that adversity, how do you get yourself back on track mentally and say, let's move forward and let's succeed together. Let's impact together. Let's send out that message of unity, and let's say, all right, there was adversity. There will also be more adversity, and there still is adversity, but that 90% of practice means when I see it, I can continue moving forward. I don't have to worry too much about, I taste it, I feel it, I sense it. It's just, that's life. Let's move on and succeed. Let's keep overcoming. Let's keep getting up.
Yeah, I agree. I always tell my friends, I say adversity is a beautiful ball that you have to keep touching. You have to keep playing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't play it, it's never going to move you forward. So see adversity as a small ball that you have to keep kicking. You kick it forward, you move. Now, the thing about kicking it is that you get to a point and you realize that, oh, I've just kicked out adversity. You get. So when you see adversity, see it as a small ball, keep kicking it and be moving. Because when you kick it forward, you move with it. You move with it until you get out of the picture. So for you to win in life, you have to understand that failure is an integral part of success. And
the lessons you take to practice, to move forward, to win.
Keep practice. Exactly. Keep doing. I mean, for me, for example, I always would tell people that one thing that helped me in my early stages is my possessive spirit to want to learn. I was so crazy about learning because I knew that it is in knowing that I can change my life.
Yeah, just like your dad said, read books.
You understand?
Find a book, read it.
Exactly. I just kept reading. And guess what? The same books I read, I picked 30 out of the books I read, and that made me a millionaire. So you see that it's the same same attitude, same culture, the same product of what I went through. It's what changed my life. So oftentimes, this is it. The solution or what will change your life is in your hands.
Yeah. And I
You
think that
understand?
goes
The
back to
solution to
what we were
conquer your
saying.
adversity is often in your hands,
Yeah.
because it's the same thing that I learned from, that people bought, paid for.
Yeah.
It made me a millionaire at
Yeah.
23. You understand what I'm
Because you took the
saying? So
90% you learned, or I guess
I
not
think
the 9%, but 9% of your time was learning, and then 10% was using that,
exactly.
because you have to learn so much more just to do one thing right.
Yeah.
And you know, it, it's like you've been saying, you know, a lot of it is adversity and learning how to overcome it. So we unfortunately we do need to start wrapping up now. But David, it was great having you. This is the second time. Love to have you again. But I think the key thing is, like you've said, for your own life, for people you've impacted, for Dr. King, Nelson Mandela, you know, we mentioned real quick Dwayne Wade. The Nigerian football team has been successful in the recent World Cups. We also, in the US, we also know Ghana is
Yeah.
not, we never want to see Ghana
Yeah.
because Ghana keeps defeating us. So, you know, like you said, you keep kicking the ball forward, you follow it. It's this beautiful ball. Adversity is a beautiful ball, but you
Yeah.
have to kick it forward until you're in sight of the goal.
Yeah.
And then when you make those shots, that's when you find yourself
Exactly.
in the World Cup, in the
Exactly.
knockout stage.
Yeah.
And that's when you finally can say the 90% of my time put into practice, overcoming adversity, has given me the chance to win when necessary.
Yeah.
And now I have a shot at that championship.
Yeah. 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 Sure. Sure. That's just a summary of this conversation. And I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come share my story and to talk about adversity. I love the topic a lot. And I wish that I can talk more about topics like this instead of coming to talk about my successes often. Let me talk
Yeah,
about
and
my
that's why when I was looking through the list of words, I was saying adversity has to be this guy, David
I'm
Lanre
telling
Messan,
you.
from Lagos, Nigeria. Definitely
I
would love to have
appreciate
you
it.
come back for more. Like I said, I have this planned out for the whole year. I just need to go
Yeah,
and figure out what other words I can add you. We'll definitely have you back on for other episodes.
it's okay.
And you know, like I said this week, and I'm also running the Civic Code for HBCUs and underprivileged students. You know,
Okay.
definitely we'd love to
Yeah.
include
Yeah.
you further, and maybe, you know, see if we can start connecting the HBCU students with college students in Africa. So thank you for your time. This was great.
You're
Definitely got to bring you
welcome.
back again. And
You're doing a great job with HBCU, with your personal project, and with the Harvard Business School. You know, you're doing a
appreciate it.
great job, and
Appreciate
I
it.
give it to you. Well done, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. That we'll
Yeah,
stay in touch and we will do
sure.
more of this.
Yeah.